So today we're going to dive into a teaching that takes our most basic, fundamental instinct, the fear of death, and just flips it completely on its head. This is the perspective of Shri Premanand Maharaj, and trust me, his view on our final moments is, well, it's nothing short of radical.
And it all really boils down to this one question. What if the very thing we spend our entire lives running away from is actually the destination we should be sprinting towards? I mean, just think about that for a second. It's a thought that challenges the very foundation of how we live our lives.
And boom, here it is, lay it out as plainly as possible. The instruction isn't just to be okay with death or to accept it peacefully. No, it's to dance, to celebrate that it's finally here. This is the core idea we're going to unpack. This total reimagining of what the end of life is really for.
But okay, before we can even begin to get our heads around this idea of celebrating death, we've got to be honest about the starting point for pretty much all of us, a deep, instinctual fear. And the teaching confronts this reality head-on.
You know, he makes this really sharp observation. Even for people who are deeply spiritual, the moment the body gets seriously sick, fear just takes over. He says he can see that worried look on their faces, and he argues that it reveals what we're really attached to. It's not the divine, it's our physical body. It's like the ultimate test of faith, and he says a lot of us fail it. So how in the world do you make the leap from fear to a festival? Well, it requires a massive shift in perspective, a truly radical reframing of what illness and death even mean.
And here, you can really see the two worldviews clash. The worldly perspective, it sees illness as a complete catastrophe. It's the end. But from the devotee's perspective, it's something totally different. It's an invitation. It's the signal that a meeting you've been waiting for your whole life is finally about to happen.
Now this might be the most provocative analogy in the entire teaching. Just get this, a terminal diagnosis isn't a death sentence, it's a confirmed ticket, a certificate. And if you get cured, the feeling shouldn't be relief. It should be a little bit of sadness, almost like your VIP pass to the ultimate event just got postponed for a little while longer.
But let's dig a little deeper. Why are we so afraid in the first place? Where does this terror of the body failing actually come from? Well, the teaching argues it all stems from a huge case of mistaken identity.
See, the argument is that we aren't really afraid of not existing. What we're afraid of is losing the only existence we know and identify with, our body. We've basically mistaken the car for the driver, the temporary container for what's actually inside. That's the fundamental error that creates all the fear.
Now, the language here is intentionally blunt, you know? It's designed to shock us and break that attachment. Calling the body a vessel of filth isn't about promoting self-hatred. It's a tool to draw a very sharp line. The point is that loving the surface, the skin, is a form of ignorance. A wise person learns to love the eternal essence that's inside the vessel.
Okay, so it's one thing to get all of this in your head, to understand the problem intellectually, but how do you actually practice this level of detachment in real life? The teaching outlines a very, very specific path.
The entire path, the whole thing, hinges on this one single concept, Ananyata. It means exclusivity, total, unwavering, one-pointed devotion and dependence. And the key insight here is that it's not about adding God to your already crowded life. It's about actively removing everything else from the center of your heart to make space. And you can kind of break down the practice into 3 stages. First, it starts with this deep gut-level realization that everyone and everything else in this world is just temporary. Second, you have to do the active work of removing those other attachments from your heart. And finally, you focus all of your mental and emotional energy onto that one single divine point.
And this is the payoff. This is the promise at the end of that path. The teaching suggests the divine isn't some distant thing you have to earn or strive for. It's right here, just waiting. The only thing that's preventing that union is our own cluttered heart. The moment we finally create that exclusive space, the embrace is immediate.
But get this. This state of exclusive devotion isn't just a way to prepare for death. The teaching claims it also provides this powerful, impenetrable shield against, well, pretty much all of life's other problems.
So the claim here is pretty wild. It's that this total reliance on the divine name acts as a kind of universal antidote. All the things we might worry about, negative astrological forces, ghosts and spirits, disease, bad karma, even the scary stuff associated with this current age. All of it is said to be completely powerless against this one single focus. But, and this is a huge but, there's a catch. The reliance has to be exclusive. The second you start hedging your bets,
looking for extra protection from a talisman or an astrological chart or anything else, you've broken the vow of Ananyata. You've shown that your faith is divided, and in theory, that shield loses its power.
And let's be really clear about something. This is not some passive, gentle path. No way. It requires immense strength, immense courage. In fact, the teaching frames it as the path of a brave warrior.
Yeah, this is definitely not for the faint of heart. This isn't about hiding away from the world. It's about standing firm in the face of everything life can possibly throw at you. The good, the bad, all of it. It takes the courage of a soldier who holds their ground no matter what's happening on the battlefield all around them.
And this right here, this is what that warrior stance looks like in practice. It doesn't matter if you get praise or blame, if you're rolling in wealth or you're living in extreme poverty, if you're experiencing intense joy or deep sorrow, the devotee remains unmoved. Their inner state just isn't dependent on what's happening on the outside anymore. They stay steady.
It really all comes down to this absolute resolve. It's a declaration. I don't care if you make me a beggar or an emperor, my steps will not falter. My devotion is not going to change one bit. Now that is the kind of stability needed to face life and ultimately death without an ounce of fear.
So let's wrap this up by bringing it all the way back to you, to our own lives. Beyond any specific spiritual context, just consider the question. If that fundamental fear that governs so many of our choices, the fear of loss, of illness, of the end, if it were just gone, what would you do differently? What would you finally be free to become?